Be clear. When anybody, any white guy wants the freedom of speech, when they are yelling for freedom of speech, when they're clamming for freedom of speech, they really want the freedom to be able to say nigga.
Yo, what's up? This bruh man from the fifth floor, and you tuned in to Forgotten Kings TV.
Listen, y'all, people are still upset with the Kevin Hart roast that took place this past weekend. That's right, y'all. For those who may have missed this roast, again, this was a roast on Netflix that took place this past Sunday, right? So again, if you didn't watch it live, a lot of people woke up early Monday morning to the headlines of Cat Williams and Kevin Hart ending their beef. Okay, this was the moment of the whole roast, or should have been, right? Cat Williams walking out on stage and finally ending the beef with Kevin Hart. Now, again, this is, after their back and forth that's been going on for many years. And again, that should have been the highlight of this roast. However, a lot of people this week have taken to social media to call out the joke about George Floyd that was said during this roast. Okay, now recently, George Floyd's family sat down with Lauren LaRosa to speak about this joke said about George Floyd. Okay, now again, there's a comedian who goes by the name of Tony Hinchcliffe. Okay, he made a very disrespectful joke about George Floyd, and a lot of people are upset, right? Now, again, George Floyd's brother sat down with Lauren LaRosa, and he said, after seeing the roast, right, or seeing the clip, hearing this joke about George Floyd, he was highly upset with Kevin, right? Considering that Kevin went to George Floyd's funeral, all right? Now, again, if you want to see this full interview, I'll make sure to leave the link in the description, but I just want to show y'all the name of the writers involved in this roast, okay? If you want, pause the video, screenshot it, so you can understand a lot of people, right, were responsible for the material that was told during this roast, which means, right, this joke could have been edited out, right? This George Floyd joke could have been edited out, right? From what I researched, right, they're saying several jokes was edited out this roast. However, they was cool with the George Floyd joke being, left in the final edit. But like I said, a lot of people have taken to social media to call out Kevin Hart for, allowing something like this to happen. Now, moments ago, comedian D.L. Hughley, he took to IG to react to this Kevin Hart roast. Again, like I said, a lot of comedians have taken to social media to give their take on this George Floyd joke that was said during this Kevin Hart roast. Now, again, I understand, right? Freedom of speech. However, this situation, considering George Floyd and how he was murdered, you can understand why people are upset, rightfully so. Certain things should be, off limits when it comes to comedy, right? Even though we understand freedom of speech, but like George Floyd's brother said, Kevin Hart went to George Floyd's funeral. You know what I mean? Knowing that, looking his family in his face and still sitting up there on the stage allowing something like this to happen. Come on, y'all. Like I said, that's just how I feel. But enough with the yapping. Let's tune into D.L. Hughley and his take. Again, let me know your thoughts on this Kevin Hart roast controversy. Again, do you think people are valid in calling out Kevin Hart for allowing this joke to be told during the roast? Or do you think it's free game? Because again, this is a roast. We understand off limits when it comes to these type of roasts. However, joking about someone like a George Floyd, right? Listen, man, considering all of the protests and everything that was sparked behind his murder, like I said, very sensitive subject, very sensitive topic. And, a lot of people are still pissed. But again, I'm done with the yapping. Like this video, hype this video, and let's get straight to the clip.
Holy shit, Cat Williams, insane. The shock factor kept being there. Cat's set was insane. There's no emotions attached to a roast. You get up there, you tell your jokes, and we understand that they're going to come with some heat, but that's what a roast is supposed to be. You can't have emotions. You got to understand what the assignment is, man. Everybody came out there and did their thing. To all the fans that just understand and appreciate what a roast is supposed to be. You got that. Got that yesterday. No emotion. No emotion, no feelings, man. It's not what a roast is about. Leave the emotions and the feelings at the front door. People are coming in and they're looking for the shock factor. They're looking for the crazy reaction about the hard-hitting joke. Let them fly. It's all in the efforts of being funny.
All right, so a lot has been made about the Kevin Hart roast on Netflix, particularly a joke that Tony Hinchcliffe told about George Floyd. I find it ironic that a comedian who appeared at a Nazi rally for Trump a couple of years ago and told a very incendiary joke would end up with that was in Jumanji. I just don't think those audiences match. But this is comedy. You can do whatever. The spirit of a roast, I remember years ago when it was the Dean Martin roast, you got the sense that those people liked each other. Those people had an affinity for each other. That it was kind of tongue-in-cheek. I don't get that sense at all. You are entitled to tell a joke, but it cannot be just jokes when the very audiences that support that kind of comedy got upset when someone said anything about Charlie Kirk. As I recall it, there were calls made to try to get people fired for just saying anything about Charlie Kirk. It cannot be just jokes when the current president of the United States of America is trying to get a comedian fired for telling a joke he didn't like and using the power of the FCC to do it. It can't be just jokes when the aforementioned man got so offended that, again, he's trying to get people fired, but he depicted Obama and his wife as apes. So jokes are fine, and I will defend the right to say whatever you want. But it is not a one-sided thing. And decidedly, there are people we've seen 3 times when this president, and who I would say the same people that like Trump, like these comedians. Same people. Now, how is it that you call it, when you do it, it's called comedy. When they do it, a joke that you don't like about somebody you don't like is something entirely different. I don't understand how those audiences meshed. I think I respect the right for anybody to say whatever it is they want to say. This is comedy. And, but it cannot be a one-sided street. It cannot be a one-sided affair. And let's be clear. When any white guy wants the freedom of speech, when they are yelling for freedom of speech, when they're clamoring for freedom of speech, they really want the freedom to be able to say. All right, that's a little note from the GED section. Got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.
Thank you for watching my video. If you like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And also, hit that notification bell to get the latest on hip-hop, sports, comedy, whatever. All right, we got you covered over here at Forgotten Kings TV. And also, click on one of these videos, okay? All right, y'all. Peace.